Today we're going to be looking at solving simultaneous equations. Now you are used to solving equations with a single variable, say x in it, but in simultaneous equations you'll be solving equations with at least two different variables in it, two different unknowns. So in this case we've got x and y. Now there's a few different methods of solving simultaneous equations, and today we're going to be looking at solving simultaneous equations involving elimination of variables. So your learning intention for today is to solve simultaneous equations by elimination, and this is just eliminating one of the two variables, so the question is turned back into the type of equation questions which you can all solve. Simultaneous equations are sets of at least two different equations which we solve simultaneously, hence the simultaneous equations. So for this pair of equations I've labelled them equation 1 and equation 2, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be rearranging these equations to take out one of our variables. So what we're looking to do is to take out one of these variables, either x or y. Now I've decided to take out, that I'm going to take out y in this equation, and you'll see why in a second. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take equation number 2 and I'm going to multiply it by 3, and you'll see why I do this in a minute. So equation 2 times 3, we get 7 times 3 is 21, x, take away 3y, and that equals 36 times 3, which is 108. Okay, so underneath that I'm going to write my equation 1 again. So I've got 4x plus 3y equals 17. And the reason I've done this is I now have minus 3y here and positive plus 3y here. So if we were to add these together, as you know, they would cancel out. So I'm going to call this new equation equation 3, and this is still equation 1. So I'm going to now add together equations 3 and 1, and you'll see what happens. 21 plus 4 is 25x, and now this negative 3y and positive 3y cancel each other out, so we eliminate that term, and then if we add 108 to 17 we get 125. Now we have an equation with just one unknown in it, and it's quite trivial to solve now. Before we finish off this simultaneous equation, I just want to point out that in this case our signs in front of our 3y were different. And so we added. Okay. If they'd been the same, if it had been plus 3y on the top and plus 3y on the bottom, if they'd been the same, we would of course subtracted. And we will look at some of those examples later. If they're the same, we would have subtracted. So let's finish off our simultaneous equation now. We know if it's 25x equals 125, we can divide both sides by 25, leaving us with x equals 5. But that's not quite the end of the story, because we still need to find what y is. So to find y, all we need to do is substitute x into one of our equations, either equation 1 or equation 2. So I'm going to choose equation 1 for this. So now we know that x is 5. So our equation tells us that 4x plus 3y equals 17. So we can say 4 times 5 plus 3y equals 17. So that means that 20 add 3y equals 17. So if we subtract our 20 from either side, then that gives us 3y equals minus 3. So we know that y is minus 1 because we've divided both sides by 3. Okay. Our answer to this question then is x equals 5 and y equals minus 1. And what you can do is that you can check your answer now. So if we substituted x equals 5 and y equals minus 1 into equation number 2 up here, then you will get the number 36. And I want you to try that now before we move on to some examples. I want you to have a go at this example here, showing all your working out. I would solve this one by multiplying equation number 2 by 2. So we have 14x plus 4y equals 50. Then if we put equation number 1 underneath, we have 2x plus 4y equals 14. So let's call this one equation 3. We've got equation 1 here. So we subtract equation 1 from equation 3. And then we get 12x. These two cancel out. Equals 36. 12x equals 36. So then we divide both sides by 12 and we get x equals 3. Now we can plug this back into equation number 1 up here. So we know that 2x plus 4y equals 14. So 2 times 3 plus 4y equals 14. Or 6 plus 4y equals 14. Now just take away the 6 from both sides, just like you would in a normal equation, and you're left with 4y equals 8. So finally we just divide both sides by 4 and we're left with y equals 2. So our answer to this question, we have x is 3 and y is 2, so I'll write my answer underneath. X equals 3, y equals 2. And you can check this by putting x is 3 and y is 2, substituting that into equation 2, and 7x plus 2y will give you 25.